Looking to light up your holiday composite images? Let's take a peek inside one of my membership tutorials and I'll show you how. I'm just going to go on top of the mice group and we can start adding some gradients for our string lights. So again, there's two different ways. If you just want to do the solid color, I'll show you what that looks like. So I'll do the green ones. I'll go ahead and brush it on first this time and then we'll choose our blend mode. Alright, so we can go with either screen or color dodge. Both are going to look pretty similar in this instance. Overlay isn't really going to show up that much, but I'm going to go ahead and go with color dodge, and then what I'm going to do is click back in here. And from here I can adjust and control how much of that light appears. I'm going to go to about like that, and then I'm going to double click over here. And again, I'm just going to blend this out. And then later I'll show you how I also add some motion blur to these to have kind of like reflections underneath to brighten up what's under there. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and just delete this and I'll show you the other way with the gradients. And I'm just going to slide this slider over a bit. And then I'll use my blend if. And then I'll just lower the fill to where I like it. And then we're going to do a couple different layers to build up that effect. But while I have these green ones, I'll go ahead and just make copies and move them. Now underneath all of that, I'm going to get a curves layer and I'm going to bring the midpoint up. I'm going to invert that and I'm going to brush it underneath each of these lights. I'm going to drag it underneath the string lights. And then to add to that green layer, we're going to do another green layer. I'll do color dodge for now and invert it. And I'm just going to take my brush and flatten it and kind of move it at different angles and brush underneath for a little bit of reflection. And then blend if. I'm just going to lower the fill on both of these a little bit more. I'll group that, and that's all the layers we did for the green. If you're sure you're not going to move these, you can go ahead and use these same layers for the other green. So I'll just, like on this side, so I'll just make a copy of one, bring it over. And I'll use these same solid color layers. Alright, so I'll go ahead and name this our green group, and I'm just going to go through and do the exact same thing with the other colors. So we'll do a red gradient and then those two solid color layers for just a little bit of extra added light. Alright, so I've got those all done and grouped here. Next, I'm just going to go ahead and add a few more like to the tree here and maybe just some extra glows on the wall. And I'll use mostly like white and really bright warm colors. I'll put a few of these behind the tree as well. I'm just going through and adding a bit more glow over some of these areas like the gingerbread man. I'm going to blur that a bit. And then I'm going to just use like a global curves to brighten those cracks a little bit more. So I'm just going to go ahead and raise this. I'll set it to color dodge. Invert it and just get a soft round brush. And I'll just brighten a few of these areas. I'm going to go ahead and drag this below so it doesn't affect all our other stock on top. Then I'm going to find the candle, so I'll just go ahead and do this. And I'm going to go ahead and merge it, and then I'm going to get a couple of solid color layers, one in a bright warm tone for some added glow, and then the other in like a gray tone for some smoke. Then I'm going to go back to this layer and double click and do a little bit of blend if. Alright, let's head up and grab our tinsel layer, and I'm going to make a backup copy, and then I'll take this one and invert it. Actually, before I invert it, let's make it a bit smaller. And I'm going to move it over here. And then I'm just going to grab the bottom of it and hold down the shift key and stretch to cover that up. Then I'll go ahead and invert it. And we're going to get basically the same kind of brush that we used for the whiskers. I'm going to bring my hardness up a bit. Bring my size down. And then we'll just go in and just start brushing them on wherever you like. I'm going to set my blend mode to screen. Just doing a few that are like draped in here as well. I think I'm probably doing way too much now. I think that's good. I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of that, and then I'll just lower the opacity. Just going to connect a few of these a little bit better. Right, I think that's good. So from here you can save your layers in a PSD if you like, and then we're going to go ahead and flatten. I'm going to make a copy of this and go into Camera Raw Filter. I will first bring up the texture and clarity a bit. I'll bring up the vibrance as well. And I'll click OK. And then I'm going to go into the adjustments, and in the selective color, I'm going to use this for some color to her face. So I'm going to bring the cyan down, add a little bit of black, and a little bit of yellow and magenta. And then I'm going to invert this. It's going to go on pretty strong most likely, but we'll adjust it after we brush it on. So I'm going to take my flow to about 50 and go over her cheeks. Since this side is so much darker, we're going to lower the opacity so we don't bring in too much saturation. And then I'll bring it back up and go over the lips. Lots of shadow and highlight going on in this image. I think we definitely brought in that cozy vibe that I was going for. And I just really loved the idea of this image. I actually had a million more ideas for this kind of a setup, like what the little kids could be spying on inside of the walls. And my goal, I would love to make like a little collection for you guys like this, but with like different scenes set up inside here. So we'll have to try to fit that into the schedule. But I hope you guys picked up a lot of tips and techniques that'll help you further in all of your composite work. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and thanks for watching.